Welcome to Fashion Reverie Talks. I am Cicily Daniels.
I'm Tijana Ibrahimovic.
Fashion Reverie takes you from the front lines of fashion to the front row.
All of Fashion Reverie Talk segments are based on published content found on fashionreverie.com.
So remember, if you want more information on the segments, go to fashionreverie.com. And if you like this episode, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button of this episode on YouTube.
We are happy to be back with our 6th season of Fashion Reverie Talks. In this episode, we are happy to have menswear designer Jack Sivan and Fashion Reverie associate editor Kristopher Fraser to talk about his article, Latinos and Hispanics, the Next Fashion Frontier. But let's start with fashion news. All of our segments are based on the fashion news alert found on fashionreverie.com.
Okay.
Yes. Kick it off.
Okay, well, we're going to get right into talking about the current events in fashion. And I'm excited to start with one of music and fashion's it girls, Sabrina Carpenter, having won 2 Emmys this year with her new album, Soft and Sweet, which featured the iconic Dolly Parton charting well. Carpenter is having like one of the best years ever. And her 2025 accomplishments are just adding to each other because she is on the March cover issue of Vogue and she looks stunning. The cover is by Stephen Meisel and she's wearing custom Dolce & Gabbana and she is with this bustier dress looking fantastic. And in the issue, she's going to talk to her fans about romance, her album, probably, everything else that she's into. And, she's a short gal. Have you seen? I mean, she's so stunning, but you know how tall she is, right?
No.
Just barely hitting 5 feet.
Oh, wow.
Which I think is kind of so amazing. So she's such a powerhouse.
All the dresses fit.
Yes. They make sure she looks stunning. She looks gorgeous. So excited to read the article.
Yeah, she's also been really doing well on the red carpet because she always picks some great looks. Speaking of fashion and New York Fashion Week, as we wrap up New York Fashion Week, there are some changes in the Fashion Week scheduling. So our Fashion Week used to be 8 days. Now it is 6. However, that might be... the 8-day schedule might be back. We shall see. However, the news is London Fashion Week will now take place a week after New York Fashion Week. So their season will start on February 20th to 24th. And Milan Fashion Week starts February 25th to March 3rd, followed by Paris Fashion Week from March 3rd to 11th. Mm-hmm. So in September, New York Fashion Week will not start right after Labor Day, as it has traditionally always started. It will take place from the 11th to September 20th. So let's see how this new schedule works out. I don't think it will be a big change, but...
I mean, you just have to plan your travel. Are we going to Milan and Paris and New York and London this week? I mean, this year, Tijana?
Let's ask William.
Set your calendars now. You heard it here first. My last bit of fashion news is about Kate Winslet, who has a new gig. Kate, and along with some other celebrities, are starring in a new Burberry campaign. And it is we're calling it Kate's Weather Job because it's a continuation of the theme. It's always Burberry weather, which centers on the strength of the outerwear. And that summer 2025 version focuses on the romantic comedy theme with the title London in Love. So Burberry is going to be releasing romantic comedies from the 90s and early 2000s and that speak to the romances of ordinary Londoners. And there's a lot of other celebrities and models that are going to be involved in the campaign. They say that the Burberry love story comes to life through the cinematic lens of this campaign. And it does have a lot of like A-list stars. And I think that it's going to be a great time for people, especially maybe people of my generation, I'm very, very young, but who really might have a lot of appreciation for the 90s and the early 2000s time in terms of, movies and celebrities.
Sounds interesting. We look forward to checking it out.
Yes. And that, I think, is our last bit of fashion news. So if you want to stay up and know what's going on, go to fashionreverie.com.
Well, welcome back to yet another fabulous episode of Fashion Reverie Talks. I'm here with Jack Sivan, director of Sivan Apparel. Jack, welcome to Fashion Reverie Talks.
Thanks for having me.
So I'm very curious to hear about your fashion journey. How did you start your career as a fashion designer? And have you always had your own apparel?
I got started fresh out of college. I went to the Rhode Island School of Design with the intention of studying apparel. And then immediately after graduating, started taking internships and roles in the garment district in New York, and just sort of started working right from there, learning everything I could. There was definitely a goal early on to have my own little brand, little operation. I don't think I had like a reason, but it definitely comes from my first interest in fashion came from traditional tailoring, and my interest was always in I love to have the idea of having a little shop, just having a little something that I ran for myself. And less so, it didn't come from interest in being part of a really big brand. So the second I got the chance to kind of do my own little shop.
So where is your little shop?
Oh, it's not open yet. Right now it's just a workshop.
Okay.
But we're based out of Brooklyn.
Amazing. So you do focus a lot on sustainability and functionality. How come? Why? Why is that the focus? I mean, obviously it's very important nowadays. So it makes your brand very fitting for for this time of fashion.
I think the answer is that it is important. I think it's important to me in the same way that clothes fitting is important. I think it's a default base level. If it's not sustainable, it's not good, no matter what it looks like. It's the same core concept in all design when people talk about form following function, or as even basic as just color theory core concepts on what works and appeases the eye. If what you're creating is going to spend more of its time in the garbage than on a person, then the main product that you created is garbage and not clothing. I look at it as that, basically.
That's one way of explaining it, and for people to really easily understand it. So you do pay homage to traditional techniques, but you do express your new innovative way to experience menswear. Could you elaborate on that?
I think I like to think of menswear as a set of aesthetic principles more than a market category. So I think we definitely tie the idea of menswear to dressing men, but I think of it as more as this general category of tailoring, the concepts of these codes that are established around subtle menswear traditions and formality, and extracting that from just being for male bodies, I think already makes a difference to some people. My business up to this point has been mostly custom. And even though I design as a menswear designer, my clientele has not been mostly men.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I view it as broadly appealing, and the result is the fit is a little bit different and appeals to people in a little different way. That wasn't something that was set out to be done. It's something that kind of grew over time. Aside from that, I think there's two approaches to traditional menswear in modern clothing. One is to just throw it aside as the past. It's not interesting. Maybe you bring it back in to be torn apart and put back together again, or you're just trying to recreate it. And I think there's less emphasis, and I'm not trying to take credit as the only person trying to do this, because they're brands that are trying to move it forward, but to like take this story and this evolution of traditional menswear into its next era, which is what I'm really trying to be part of.
So you also showed at New York Fashion Week.
Yeah.
It was your fall 2025 menswear collection. What was this collection's point of view?
All of my collections are really just based on the clothing. I kind of build the vibe and the ambiance as I go along. The collection's theme was Hotel Sivan. I wanted to put it in a setting because I prefer to show clothing in some sort of context where you can create characters, and this seemed like a very good way to do that. So I built this fake hotel, established all my models as different types of personas of the type of people might be through a hotel, and that allowed me to style these looks around personality types. And it's a good way to explore the range of what I wanted to do with my line, because I could do really functional, kind of daily, uniformy kind of clothing and show evening wear looks all in the same setting, with it making sense and with them interacting with each other.
That's great. So we did hear you have 3 lovely guinea pigs.
Oh, yeah.
Do they work with you when you're creating new collections?
They watch sometimes. They're very cute. I don't know. They do love the fabric, which is a problem sometimes for the fabric.
But it yeah, probably makes your work easier and fun when they're around, huh?
That's definitely true.
So what's next for you?
The next stage, which is what I really got into doing collections to do, is to bring this brand into stores. So like I said, we've been custom for a while. We got this opportunity to show first off calendar, small capsule collection, and now 3 times on the Fashion Week calendar, which has done a lot to help us like hone our brand image and build a little bit of a reputation. And now recently launching our wholesale ready to wear line. So the goal is to shop that around and take it to stores and hopefully build a base of our brand around that.
That's great. What would be like a goal store?
Only Saks would be nice. That's for sure. But no, there's a long list of boutiques that are at the top of my list. I think I'm much more interested in that kind of clientele. It's something that I understand a little bit more, having worked in custom. And I like the idea of trying to figure things out little steps at a time, and working with boutiques is really how I'd like to be.
That's great. Thank you so much, Jack, and we wish you all the success in your future endeavors.
Thank you. It was nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you too. Thank you.
Thanks.
I am so excited to welcome back one of our favorites, fashionreverie.com, Kristopher Fraser, who has written an amazing article on Latinos and Hispanics, fashion's next frontier. Now, Kristopher, welcome back.
Hi, Cicely. How are you this fine Saturday?
I'm good, darling. How you been?
I've been doing great. You know, just survived another season of New York Fashion Week.
Hey.
Now that circus is over.
Well, I'm sure it was a circus, but I think it probably helped you get more information because you're always knowing about what's on the cutting edge of fashion and who's on the cutting edge of fashion. And so talk to me about just the idea that you've been talking to with industry professionals about Latinos and Hispanics and fashion, and like kind of what you're seeing as being next.
Latinos and Hispanics are one of the largest growing demographics in the United States, and as a result, they're also one of the becoming one of the largest consumers of retail in the United States. So for brands looking to expand, grow, and build within the US and even across the entire Western Hemisphere, Hispanic and Latinos are a very key consumer market that up until recently has gone very ignored.
And so obviously, if you are trying to really have a voice in fashion, it seems like a really smart demographic to be paying attention to, period, right? If you want to have those kind of sales. So tell me a little bit about Hispanics, Latinos, and the luxury market. We know that Black consumption makes up 72% of the luxury market. Asian consumption is about at 54%, and Hispanic consumption is around 34%. So can you elaborate on what you think those differences are and what might change?
Oh yeah, more specifically, because those numbers add up to more than 100. It's that those percentages are more like Black consumers are 72% more likely to be luxury consumers. Not that 72% of them are, they make up 72%. So it's more likely.
Right. Okay.
Hispanic consumers are 34% more likely to be luxury consumers.
Gotcha. So what is happening right now with the Hispanic and Latino community, and what do you think is going to change about that?
I think as we see the continued expansion of Hispanic and Latino immigration in the United States, and particularly those demographics who go on to college and go on to graduate degrees and end up in fields and careers where they have more higher and disposable income, they become key consumers for these top luxury brands. Even internationally in cities like Mexico City and Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo, which have very, very high numbers of tourism, luxury brands are also catching on to that and opening stores there, knowing that beyond just the wealthy residential consumers, they're also getting large influxes of tourist consumers who are going to these Latin American and Hispanic countries to shop. They want to shop. They're looking to spend money. They're on vacation. They want to buy. They want to be the big spenders. And especially given that beyond just luxury fashion, these are key markets for luxury players in general, whether it's hotels or wines and spirits or experiential things. They know that those luxury consumers are there.
Right.
They're going.
You're feeling that totally makes sense. And you were saying in the article that you feel like new fashion hubs are even, become because of this focus on Latinos and Hispanics and their kind of rise in income and all of the fashion. So you feel like Mexico might be one of those new kind of places?
You see it already happening in Mexico City. A lot of major luxury brands are opening retail stores there. Dolce & Gabbana opened a store there recently. Fendi opened a store there recently. So a lot of the Italian brands are trying to target Mexico City as their next retail markets. And, of course, those LVMH brands, which LVMH owns, Louis Vuitton, Dior, Fendi, which just opened a store there. And then you have Kering, which owns Gucci, McQueen, Bottega Veneta, Balenciaga. They're looking at Mexico City as their next retail expansion hub, as more luxury consumers are becoming more prominent there in terms of numbers. And you see a lot of even immigration to Mexico City and people buying real estate there or renting real estate there who are higher income earners and people with disposable income from outside of Mexico itself as well.
Yeah. And you talking about Mexico City also makes me, from your article, think about Brazil, where I have always wanted to go, number one. But it makes me think for people who like to travel, people who also like to be in these like luxury locations, that it like is, another reason why these places would become like higher tourist destinations. And people be really excited to travel there because of the lifestyle, but also because of the shopping and, what they're finding there. Tell me more about what do you think you're seeing happening in Brazil?
Brazil has a huge tourist market. And another thing is a lot of investors are also looking at investing in malls. Mall culture is, when we talk about like, oh, mall culture dying in the United States, it looks to be the complete opposite in Brazil. People love an in-person shopping experience. And you even see like independent shoe brands and things that are higher end coming out of places like Brazil. And then you see certain brands recruiting top models like Gisele Bündchen, who's Brazilian, to be the face of their campaigns in Brazil, and really targeting those consumers that love, those Brazilian consumers that love to shop.
Yeah. Yeah. Shopping in person and
And
having the
tourism
experience.
will never die in Brazil. We
I
know
love
that
that.
for sure.
I haven't been yet, but I'm going to go. All right. Well, this is actually very informative. So tell me my last question would be like, kind of like, what kind of trends do you think that this, like, because of this, like, kind of influx in consumers and designers, are there any like specific trends or like ideas that you're seeing that are being generated, whether it's by the designers or because of the fashion, like what people are calling for in the Latino community that you're seeing in fashion?
We may have seen a lot of backlash against diversity, equity, and inclusion recently, but at the end of the day, if these brands are smart and they know they want money,
Right.
they will do their due diligence and start representing Hispanics and Latinos in their ad campaigns and marketing, because when you see the most universal color is green.
Hey. And I
You
know
go
that
out to
fashion,
who's going to get you some green.
right. So people are going to need to be responsive to the trends and responsive to the audience and try to give the audience what they are looking for. Well, I think it's exciting. I think that's going to give me even more motivation to do some more travel so that I can really understand the luxury markets, especially what's happening in Brazil. um, but this has been a great conversation, Kristopher. As always, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Cicely.
Well, viewers, that's it for this episode of Fashion Reverie Talks.
We would like to thank our guests, Jack Sivan and Fashion Reverie Associate Editor, Kristopher Fraser.
For information on these and other stories, go to fashionreverie.com and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.